She was 5 years old. They found her in a swamp, naked, beaten, gone. And the man who did it? He was a family friend, slept under their roof, ate at their table. He smiled in her daddy's face that same night. But by 2 a.m., he was gone, and so was Alayna. You're watching an unbelievable true story, where we only tell real stories. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. It happened in Minnesota, August 2016, middle of the night. Alayna Ertl was sleeping safe in her own bed. Mom, Dad, and the family friend were all in the house. They didn't hear a sound, not a creak, not a whisper. They woke up. Her bed was empty. The man was gone. So was the truck. They called 911, started searching, but they were already too late. Every 40 seconds, a child is taken in the U.S., and 80% of the time, it's by someone they already know. We don't like to think about it, but most danger ain't from strangers. It's the people already close to your kids. That's why we linked a family safety course in the description and first pin comment. It's made for kids and parents. Teaches what to say, what to watch for, and what to do if something ever feels off. It's not about fear. It's about knowing what to do. Now stay with me, because we're about to break down who this man really was, why he targeted her, and the one chilling detail that still haunts her family to this day. Let's get into the full story. Friday, August 19th, 2016. It was summer. Hot day. Cool night. Alayna's mom and dad invited a friend over. His name was Zachary Anderson, 26 years old. He played softball with Alayna's dad. They had a game that night. Then they came back to the house to relax. Zachary brought beer. The adults sat around and drank a little. Alayna ran around the house in pajamas, laughing. She wasn't scared of him. Nobody was. He'd been over before. They let him sleep there if he needed. That night, he stayed in the basement. They said goodnight, locked the doors, went to bed. Alayna was in her room, under her purple blanket. Her mom kissed her goodnight. Nobody thought that would be the last time. At 8 a.m. the next morning, Alayna's mom got up. She went to check on her. The bed was empty. No blanket, no pillow, no shoes. The whole house went into panic mode. They ran room to room, screamed her name, opened every closet, checked outside. Nothing. Then they realized something else. Zachary was gone too. So was his truck. So was his phone. That's when the mom called 911. Police showed up quick. This was a small town. They knew the family. They took it seriously. They put out an Amber Alert. They called it a non-custodial abduction. That's when someone takes your kid, and they got no right to. They started tracking Zachary's phone. His truck had OnStar too. They followed both signals. They were moving. He was on the road, with her, and every second mattered. They chased the signal all morning. He was driving back to his parents' cabin, a remote place in Meeker County. Real isolated, real quiet. When police got there, they found the truck. They found Zachary, but not Alayna. She wasn't with him. He looked nervous. He had scratches on his arms. They put him in cuffs right away. Then they asked, "Where is she?" He didn't answer. Police started searching. They looked through the woods, the barn, the cabin, the garage. Hours passed. Then they found a trail. It led into the swamp. And there, about half a mile from the cabin, they saw her. She was in the water, face down, no clothes, no heartbeat. She had been gone for hours. The coroner said she died from homicidal violence. That means she was hurt so bad. Her little body gave out. She fought, but she was 5. She didn't stand a chance. Alayna Ertl was the kind of kid who hugged strangers. She believed in good people. She trusted the people her parents trusted. And that's what makes this so hard. She didn't walk into danger. Danger walked into her home. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, a child goes missing every 40 seconds in the U.S. NCMEC 2023. And in most cases, it's someone they already know, not a monster in the bushes, not a masked man in a van, but a friend, a coach, a neighbor, a guest in the house. That's why we added a real family safety course in the video description and pin comment. It's not about fear. It's about being ready. It shows kids and parents how to spot danger early, how to speak up, and how to escape if things go wrong. It could save a life, even one like Alayna's. She should have been at school that Monday. She should have been riding her bike. She should have been playing tag with her brothers. Instead, her parents were planning a funeral. The day after they found Alayna, the whole town went quiet. No lawnmowers, no music, no kids riding bikes. Just silence. People lit candles, put teddy bears on the porch, left flowers on the sidewalk, because something sacred had been broken, and there was no fixing it. At the sheriff's office, Zachary Anderson sat in a gray room. Cold, still, quiet. He didn't say a word at first. Just sat there, like he was waiting on a bus, like he didn't just take a child's life. But when they pressed him, when they showed him pictures of Alayna, when they told him her family was outside crying, he cracked. He admitted it. He told them what he did. But the truth, it didn't help. It only made it worse. He said he left the house around 2 a.m., took Alayna from her bed, carried her out the back door, put her in his truck. She was still asleep. He drove her out to his parents' cabin, middle of nowhere. No neighbors, no help. He said she woke up crying. Then, he got frustrated. That's the word he used. Frustrated. He admitted he hurt her. He didn't say how, didn't give details. But we know this. Her body had signs of blunt force trauma. That means she was hit hard, and there were signs of something worse. The kind of harm no one should ever have to explain. After he confessed, police charged him with kidnapping, assault, and murder. He didn't get bail, didn't get sympathy, didn't get out. The community wanted answers. They wanted to know, why her? Why would a grown man take a 5-year-old girl? Why would he betray a family who let him into their home? And the hardest question of all, could this have been stopped? Alayna's parents, Matt and Heather, spoke to reporters a few days later. They stood outside their house, still in the same clothes, eyes red, voices shaking. Heather said, "We trusted him. He wasn't a stranger. He held her. He played with her. She laughed with him." Matt said, "I'll never understand. Not in 1,000 years." They didn't yell, didn't curse, just stood there. Two broken parents trying to explain the unexplainable. The trial didn't last long. There was evidence. There was a confession. There was no doubt. Zachary Anderson pled guilty. They gave him life in prison without parole. He'll never be free again. He'll never walk the streets. He'll never hurt another child. But even that sentence, it doesn't feel like enough. Because Alayna's gone, and she's not coming back. People always ask, how do you explain this to kids? How do you protect them? The truth is, you can't explain monsters. You can only prepare for them. That's why we remind people, it's okay to talk about danger. It's okay to teach your kids what to do. If someone tries to trick them, if someone they trust makes them feel scared, if something feels wrong, not because we want to scare them, but because we want them to survive. That's why we linked a family safety course in the description and pin comment. It's made by real experts, police, child safety officers. They break it down for you. Simple things that can save your life. It's free, it's fast, and it works. After the funeral, Matt and Heather started something called the Alayna Ertl Memorial Foundation. They didn't want her to just be a memory. They wanted her to matter. The foundation works to protect kids. It helps families learn about child safety. They go to schools, talk to parents, push for better laws. Heather said, if even one child is saved because of what happened to ours, then Alayna's life still has meaning. That's the kind of strength most people don't have. To lose your baby and still get up every morning to try and help someone else's. People in Watkins still remember her. Her picture is on the wall in the town center, smiling, big cheeks, messy hair. Every August, they light candles. The whole town shows up. People cry. People pray. Some people just sit and stare at the sky. She was only here for 5 years, but she changed the whole town. The house where it happened still stands. Same front door, same little swing in the yard. But inside, it's different. You can feel the ache in the air. Some nights, Heather says, she still hears Alayna laughing. Other nights, it's just the silence. You ever wake up in the middle of the night and feel like something ain't right? That's how Alayna's mom, Heather, felt. The morning her baby was gone. She said the air was wrong. Too still. Too quiet. She walked down the hallway barefoot. Her hand hit the doorknob to Alayna's room. She said her fingers froze. She didn't want to turn that knob, But she did, and the bed was empty. She stared at the mattress like maybe Alayna had just rolled off. Like maybe she was hiding under the blanket. Maybe it was all a bad dream. She pulled the covers. Nothing. No pillow. No stuffed animals. No blanket. No Alayna. She screamed her name so loud. The neighbors heard it. Matt jumped out of bed, ran from room to room. Basement, kitchen, bathroom, outside. Then he looked in the driveway, and the truck was gone. They called 911. The dispatcher said, "Can you describe what your daughter was wearing?" But Heather couldn't, because Alayna had been taken in her sleep. No clothes, no shoes, just a sleepy 5-year-old girl in someone's arms. And that someone was the man they let in, the one who smiled at their table and said, "Thanks for dinner." Police moved fast. They called it what it was, an abduction. Not a runaway, not a misunderstanding, a straight-up kidnapping. They ran the plates on the missing truck. It was a white GMC Sierra with OnStar. They tracked the GPS. They knew where it had been, where it was going. They followed the dots on the screen like breadcrumbs. It led them deep into Meeker County. Thick trees, swampy water, only a few cabins, mostly empty in summer. Zachary's family owned one, right by the woods. No neighbors for miles. When police got there, he was sitting on the steps of the cabin, alone. He didn't run, didn't fight, didn't say a word, but his arms had cuts, his pants were muddy, and he smelled like sweat and swamp water. They cuffed him, sat him down, asked him where Alayna was. He looked at the trees and said, "I left her down there." That's when the search began. Dozens of officers walked into that swamp. Thigh-high water, mosquitoes everywhere, branches cutting their arms, thick mud that pulled on their boots. They didn't stop, didn't blink, because they were looking for a little girl, a baby. Then one officer called out. They found her face down in shallow water. No clothes, small frame, bruises on her arms. She had no pulse, no breath, no life. The swamp went silent. Not even the birds made a sound. A grown man picked up her body, wrapped her in his jacket, held her like she was his own. One cop said later, "That image will never leave me." At the coroner's office, they found signs of trauma, blunt force, possibly strangled. Signs of sexual assault, too. We don't need to describe it. It's enough to know. She suffered. She was 5. She trusted him. She didn't know people could be like that. Zachary Anderson was charged with first-degree murder, first-degree criminal sexual conduct, kidnapping. The judge said, "This is the worst crime I've seen in my courtroom." He gave him life in prison without parole. No chance of getting out. No second chances. No redemption. But what hurts most ain't what he did. It's when he did it. He didn't break in. He didn't sneak through a window. He was invited in. He was trusted, given a couch, given food, given love, and he used all of it to hurt the child of the people who helped him. Alayna's family didn't move. They stayed in Watkins. Same house, same town. Matt went back to work. Heather started going to schools, talking to other moms and dads. She said, "I can't bring her back, but I can keep someone else from going through this." She turned her pain into purpose. They created the Alayna Ertl Memorial Foundation. It funds child safety programs, supports missing child searches, hosts free training for parents. They pass out whistles and bracelets at schools. They print safety cards. They help families who need it most. One mom said, "I didn't know how to talk to my kids about danger. Now I do. Pain like this never fades. It just gets folded up and carried. You don't cry less. You just cry quieter." And every time Heather hears a little girl laugh, she closes her eyes and thinks about the one who's missing. There's a part of the swamp in Meeker County that never got cleaned up. No police tape, no signs. But the locals say the air still feels heavy there, like it remembers, like the trees are still holding secrets. You know what breaks a parent the most? It's not the funeral. It's not the questions. It's the toys. The little shoes still by the door. The stuffed bear on the bed. The crayon drawing taped to the fridge that still says, "I love you, Mommy." Heather Ertl couldn't throw any of it away. She tried once, picked up Alayna's pink soccer ball. Then she sat down on the floor and cried for an hour. The world moves on. But for a parent who loses a child, time just stops. The calendar keeps changing, but your life stays frozen. On the day it all went wrong, Matt, Alayna's dad, said he couldn't sleep for months. He'd lay in bed and replay everything. What if I checked on her one more time? What if I locked the door better? What if we hadn't invited him over? Those what ifs are like fire inside your chest. And the guilt? Even though it wasn't their fault, it feels like it was. Because parents are supposed to protect, even when monsters wear smiles. That's the thing about Zachary Anderson. He wasn't some stranger in a hoodie. He wasn't hiding in a bush. He was a guy you'd let babysit. A guy who helped clean up after dinner. A guy who held a 5-year-old girl on his lap and made her giggle. He wore the costume of trust. But underneath, he was something else. And you know what's scary? Most abuse happens that way. Not with force, not with a weapon, but with access. A smile, a familiar face, an open door. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, 80% of child sexual abuse cases involve someone the child already knows. DOJ 2021. Think about that. The people who are supposed to be safe are often the ones doing harm. That's why we always say this. Teach your kids to trust their gut. If someone makes them feel weird, tell someone. If a hug feels wrong, pull away. If they're scared, say something. It doesn't matter if it's a teacher, or a cousin, or a family friend. Kids need to know. You believe them. You will protect them. And it's never their fault. That's why we added a real family safety course. In the video description and first pinned comment. It's not a sales pitch. It's real training. Taught by people who've seen this stuff. Police, child protection experts, survivors. It shows families how to spot red flags early. How to talk to kids in a way that's real. How to react when something feels wrong. 1 hour. That's it. 1 hour that might change everything. Back in Watkins, people still honor Alayna. Every summer, they hold a candlelight walk. They wear purple, her favorite color. They walk through the town holding pictures. Passing by the park where she used to play. It's quiet, peaceful, but heavy. There's a bench by the swings now. It says, "In loving memory of Alayna Ertl, forever 5." And sometimes, when the sun's setting just right and the wind blows gentle, you can hear a soft laugh in the trees, almost like she never left. Heather visits the cemetery every week. Sometimes she brings a balloon, sometimes just flowers. She talks to her, like she's still listening. She tells her about her brothers, tells her about the work they're doing, tells her she misses her every second. Matt doesn't talk much. He says his grief doesn't have words, but he built a tree house in their yard. Alayna always wanted one, even though she never got to use it. He built it anyway. It's got little stairs, a purple flag, and a small sign that says, "This was hers." It's easy to hear stories like this and look away. Turn off the screen. Say, "That'll never happen to me." But the truth is, it can happen anywhere. Small towns, big cities, happy homes. Because monsters don't come with warning signs. They don't knock first. They slip in, through trust. So stay sharp, stay aware, and stay ready. Not because you're scared, but because you love the people in your life. Too much not to be. Alayna didn't get to grow up, didn't get to blow out 6 candles, didn't get her first day of school. But her story, that's not going away. Her name still means something. Her face still changes hearts. Her life, though short, still echoes. And her family, they're still standing, still fighting, still loving. Because that's what you do when you carry a name. That mattered. Let's talk about the part no one likes to say out loud. Sometimes, evil walks right through your front door, and you don't even see it coming. It doesn't wear a mask. It doesn't growl like a movie villain. It laughs. It helps with groceries. It tells you your daughter is cute. That's what happened to the Ertl family. And now, they live with the truth that the monster didn't break in. They let him in. Zachary Anderson didn't have a criminal record, didn't have red flags, didn't give anyone a reason to be afraid. But on that night, he became something else. A predator, a thief of innocence, and a destroyer of peace. The courts did what they could. They gave him life with no way out. But even with justice, there's no such thing as closure. You don't get closure when your child's last breath happened alone, in the dark, at the hands of someone they knew. You want to know what strength looks like? It's a mom standing in front of school, telling kids they have the right to say no. telling teachers to pay attention, telling other parents to stop being polite when their gut says something feels off. It's a dad showing up at a softball game without his daughter in the stands, but still coaching, still trying, still moving forward. That strength. There was one moment after the trial that will always stay with me. Heather stood at a podium, holding a picture of Alayna. She looked at the crowd, reporters, officers, parents, and she said, if she had screamed, maybe someone would have heard. But she didn't scream. She trusted him, and he used that trust to silence her. And she looked down and whispered, I'm sorry I wasn't there. That line broke the room, because every parent felt it. That gut punch of, I should have protected her. But let's be clear, it wasn't her fault. It wasn't Matt's. It wasn't the brothers. It wasn't the towns. There's only one person to blame, and he's locked away forever. Still, this world needs to change. We need to teach kids that safety isn't just about don't talk to strangers. It's about recognizing danger in disguise, because strangers don't always knock. Sometimes they're already on the couch with a beer in their hand. If you're watching this and you're a parent, a big brother, a teacher, someone a kid looks up to, start talking. Have the hard conversations. Teach them to trust their gut. Tell them it's okay to speak up. Show them what safe people look like. Not perfect people, but safe people. That's why we put a real family safety course in the description and pin comment. It's not a scare tactic. It's not drama. It's survival. Made by law enforcement. Taught by real child safety experts. They walk you through how to talk to kids, how to spot grooming behavior, what to do if something goes wrong. You can watch it in an hour. You can teach it in a day. And it could change everything. Because what happened to Alayna should never happen again. Today, Alayna's room is still there. Her bed, her toys, her favorite purple blanket. Heather says she goes in sometimes, just to sit on the floor and breathe. She talks to her, says things like, I made dinner tonight. Your brothers fought over the last roll. You would have laughed. Or, there was a butterfly in the backyard. It was purple. I think it was you. Alayna's brothers are older now, but they still remember her. Still talk about her like she just went to the store. And maybe in their hearts, that's how they need to see it. That she's not gone. She's just somewhere else. Still laughing. Still running around barefoot. So what do we do with a story like this? We remember. We speak out. We stay ready. Because the world doesn't hand out safety. You have to build it. Brick by brick. Lesson by lesson. And we owe that to kids like Alayna. She only had 5 years. But in those 5 years, she brought joy. She brought light. She brought meaning. And even now, she's still changing the world. One candlelight walk at a time. One safety class at a time. One family at a time. Who says, not my child. Not today. Thank you for watching. And for not looking away. Because when you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And when you hear a story like this, you carry it. Not just for her, but for every child who still needs protecting. But our next case? It starts with a quiet street, a boy on his way home from school, and a neighbor with a secret room he swore no one would ever find. Stay close, because this next one will shake you to your bones.